Knon 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227, or extension 233. For more information, go to knon.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.
On October the 29th, on Tuesday, at North Haven United Methodist Church, they're going to do something on climate reality on the Sandy anniversary. I guess that's the anniversary of the Sandy storm. You are invited to see a presentation from Al Gore's Climate Reality Project on the science of climate change. That's October 29th from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at North Haven United Methodist Church. On October 31st, I hope you're marking this on your calendar, Congressman Mark Vesey will be at the Mid-Cities chapter meeting of the Texas Alliance for Retired Americans at the Betty Warmack Library, 760 Barden Road in Grand Prairie. On October the 31st, Halloween, Introduction to Community Organizing at SMU at Prothero Hall, room 206, Perkins School of Theology at SMU. That's from 4 to 8 p.m. Calling every weekend, during the week, every night from 4 to 7 p.m. There will be phone banking at the Teachers Hall. That's at 334 Center Street. It's a corner of Center and Bishop. They're doing phone banking for the election, and they would appreciate anybody coming and helping. Early voting is going on all the time right now, and it ends on November the 1st. Election day is Tuesday, November the 5th. November the 2nd at 10 o'clock a.m. at the Walmart in Balk Springs. And here's the address, 12300 Lake June Road in Balk Springs. There's a Walmart.
And that's 635. Can't miss it.
Okay, at Highway 635 and Lake June Road.
That's
then.
right.
Okay. The Pleasant Grove expert knows where the Walmarts are.
Balch Springs.
And it's at 10 o'clock in the morning on November the 2nd. I guess that must be a Saturday,
yes,
huh?
It is.
They will be having an interfaith rally with Pastor Keith and other inspirational leaders, and I look forward to seeing you there.
That's next Saturday.
And November 20th, this is on down the road, there'll be another Walmart action in Lancaster at 150 North Beckley in Lancaster. Now these Walmart, that's at 5:30 p.m.
Yes.
These Walmart actions will be taking place at the gates, not inside on the Walmart property. Don't worry about getting arrested. Somebody wants to get arrested, they have to plan their own.
That's on them.
Arrested.
That's right.
It's not going to be us
And Gene,
planning that stuff.
Today is Grove Fest in Pleasant Grove.
And Grove Fest in Pleasant Grove?
That's right.
How do people participate in that?
From 11 to 4 at the Buckner Station, which is at Buckner and Elam Road. We will have, oh my gosh, they got food and entertainment and lots of tables set up for different organizations. Texas Organizing Project has a table, and I was asked as I was leaving there this morning if I would MC, so I'm not sure. I think I may be MC.
You could actually see Bonnie Mathias at the Grove Fest.
Grove Fest, yeah.
Okay, and we got a couple of guests here. That's Bonnie Mathias speaking. I'm Gene Lantz. Now let's introduce our guests. We have to my direct left here, Rosemarie Reiger, co-coordinator of North Texas Job with Justice. Good morning, Rosemarie.
Good morning, Gene. Good morning, Bonnie.
Good morning.
And also, I invited the candidates from the school board election, and we got one of them here, Kristi Lara. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
So who would like to start? We'll let Kristi Lara start. Why are you running for school board?
Well, primarily I'm running because, as many of us know when we read in the paper, hear on the news. There's quite the, struggle and challenge in DISD. And I thought that being a community organizer, I could bring a strong voice to the board and begin to collaborate with our communities, our parents, our teachers, and start to resolve a lot of those issues and challenges that they're having.
This is the year of the women. This is the year of the women coming up.
Of course it is.
And,
it's always been that.
And are you the only female candidate?
I am the only female candidate.
And what do you think about the idea that the year of the women is coming? I mean, do you think Wendy Davis should be running for governor and stuff like that?
I absolutely believe Wendy Davis should be running for governor. We definitely need more women in government to represent our issues as well as our perspective in the world. And I think the more that women are able to get that perspective out, the better off we'll all be. At least, I think half of the government, at least half, needs to be women.
Well, I'm going to say this because I believe it to be true. The men have had their shot.
Yeah.
We've been running things.
Right.
We've been running things since the early Bible days, and look what a mess everything is. So
And now that you guys have got it all messed up, we have to come in and clean up after you, which is, of course, what we do.
I think that the coming of the women in politics in Texas is part of a big change, that a lot of different things are happening that didn't used to be happening. I want to ask Rosemarie Reiger if she thinks that things are different in the labor movement and with Jobs with Justice. Talk right into there.
Sure. Things are changing. People are getting active, and that's because things are getting so bad for workers. More and more people are finding that their benefits are being slashed, their wages aren't rising, and they're working hard, they're working full time, they still can't make ends meet, and so people are waking up.
What kind of things are you working on?
Right now, we are supporting the low-wage workers, like Walmart workers. That's one of our big campaigns, and like you already said, there are some actions coming up for that on November 2nd. That's in Balk Springs, and also on November 20th, there's a big Black Friday action and protest at Walmart. And Walmart workers have Walmart workers are being oppressed from all sides. The pay is very low. They don't have transparent scheduling, so a lot of workers don't know when they have to show up. So they can't plan child care. They can't go back to school because they never know what their schedule's going to be like. And then also there's no respect on the job. They're treated very disrespectful, and all these things have been hard for them over the years, and now some of the workers have decided to form their own association, a workers association called Our Walmart, which stands for Organization United for Respect. And so we're supporting them in this and calling people to actions and to stand with them in solidarity.
You mentioned that Walmart workers, since they work part-time, have a hard time organizing their child care. Does that mean this is a big women's issue?
I believe, I don't know the statistics, but I believe probably more than half of the workers are women, yeah. And so that is a big issue for families and for women. A lot of the workers, would like to work full time, but they don't. They're always kept under full time, so Walmart doesn't have to give them any kind of health care benefits. That's another problem, especially for women, single mothers who need health care for their children.
So women's things are a big deal. How about in the school board race, Kristi? Are there particular women's aspects of the school board race that you want to raise?
This is a wonderful point because, as many people know, I was in Austin this summer supporting Wendy Davis and a lot of the progressive women out there. And one issue that I always like to bring to light is that, as many of us know, the women professions that are the majority of the women, we tend to have a lot of women workers in retail, like at Walmart, and we have a lot of women who are school teachers. It's predominantly a historically female-based profession. And so we need to, as a community, question why our women professionals, one, aren't paid to the same standard that a male-dominated profession is, and why our women professionals aren't respected by our government and by our communities as far as the benefits that they receive as teachers and the wages that they receive as teachers, and quite frankly the labor and the energy and the heart that a lot of these teachers, not just women but men as well, that they put into their classrooms. I mean, this is a labor of love, and I feel like for whatever reason, over the decades, that labor and that profession hasn't been respected, not just in the sense of dollars and cents, but in the sense of how we as a community look to them to be leaders and to be actual professionals in their field. Definitely a woman's issue.
It seems to me that a long time ago that schools were pretty well women oriented. In other words, it was a nurturing thing. And yet I've seen since George Bush was president, I've seen men imposing their kinds of standards on the schools and saying, schools are not about nurturing, schools are about passing tests. Schools are about you living up to my expectations and all that. And I wonder if that's a trend or if this is just me making up stuff.
I definitely don't think you're making up stuff. There are some women who've gotten on the standardized testing bandwagon, but we know that standardized tests do not educate our children. They're simply tools of measurement, and that our entire system has basically been turned upside down around this one issue is frustrating to me, not only as a citizen, but it's frustrating to our teachers who are out in their field, because they know these tests are not the end-all be-all answers to the concerns and the challenges they're facing in the classroom, yet every single thing they do is measured by this one thing, and we know our children are so much greater than that one thing. They're so much more enlightened, so much more empowered as humans and as individuals, and that a score on any one test could never encapsulate the beauty of learning and of academic achievement.
Let me ask Rosemarie Reiger, because I know you've got a background in education as well. Do you think our schools are turning into factories?
I do. I agree with Kristi. I think she's right on that point, that so much emphasis is put on testing, and like Kristi, already said, I can't say it any better, that children are much more than a test score. And so, yeah, I don't think the direction things are going in education with putting all this weight on testing is the way to go.
School administrators are mostly men, and frankly,
that too.
That bothers me even more because I don't think anybody in the school business has got much say-so about the schools anymore. It's all politicians, people who have no background working with children, who probably couldn't even talk to a child, are making up the standards and saying, here's what the schools must do. And they've just turned the schools over to the corporations. It's not just the schools. Everything is being turned over to the corporations. The Texas Workforce Commission used to be, you used to call it the unemployment office, and people would go there for help. But now it's everything they say is we're doing this for the corporations and that for the corporations. Is there a trend, Kristi or Rosemarie, whichever one wants to jump in here? Is there a trend toward the corporations just taking over everything? What do you think?
This issue, and Rosemarie I'm sure can touch on it as well, this issue of privatization, of dwindling down the number of public schools. We know that the funding from our communities At this point here in DISD, which is one of the top largest of the 10 in the nation as far as size, has a budget of approximately $1.5 billion, depending on which morning you wake up. So we need to look at where that money is being spent. And a lot of people question whether in a public setting, that is in a public institution, whether the superintendent of DISD should be paid more than the President of the United States. I question that each and every day that I wake up, and I also want to bring that that energy and that sense of purpose as far as this is a true service to our community, and we need to get people in there who really do want to work for the children and put that money, those dollars and cents, for the children.
Rosemarie, you talked about Walmart a while ago, and I know what we call the Walmart model is being adopted. Do you think corporations are just taking over everything?
That's sure what it looks like. So a lot of, for instance, in public transportation, I know that a lot of public services are being outsourced to private companies, and a lot of times, or most of the time, it doesn't make it any better, and the services are slashed because private companies try and make a bigger profit, so they pay the workers less, and then the services really get neglected. So it's a trend, just like you said, and with Walmart, the Walmart model is being taken over by a lot of companies, and they follow the same pattern where they try and fire workers and hire temporary workers so that they pay less, and that goes through.
Yeah, let's talk about layoffs in a minute. But first, we've got a call from Tony. Good morning, Tony. Thanks for calling KNON.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Good.
All right. I want to agree with you talking about corporations. And I'm not picking sides in this DID race, but if you notice, there's two people running, and North Dallas have a pact to support one of the candidates.
Uh-huh.
And that is to commodify with the school district and say, okay, we need better schools, so what we want to do is make schools like a corporation and make products that our kids bring.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is this: the business community has always set the agenda of the government, whether it's domestic or foreign. The problem is you have a certain segment in this community, and I'm not saying community, I'm talking United States, that thinks privatization is the be-all to end-all. I bet you if you look at most corporations, they have contracts with government entities, whether it's school districts, whether it's state and local government, and they are getting tax credit. And then on the other end, they say, well, we shouldn't pay for welfare, Social Security, but we give corporations all this money, and we set up there and let them control the argument and frame the argument to the point where we don't want to pay people.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, the American people have to make a decision. Either you want to be controlled by corporations, or you want to become a government by the people. And what I say about the Tea Party is this: they are organized by corporations. That's why they have that's why they have that strength.
Yeah, wrap it up, Tony, because they want us to take a break.
Oh, okay. But at the end of the day, until the American people get sick and tired of being sick and tired, guess what? We're going to have our schools, our medical things controlled. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Tony.
We'll be right back, folks.
Oh, he told me all right. Joe got the axe this morning. He's been down, size down.
Rice and Wheat is located at 4906 Maple Avenue at Medical District in Dallas and offers a variety of Asian fusion dishes from Vietnamese, Thai, and Japanese influences, including pho, spinach pasta, bento boxes, and more, with vegan options available, as well as beer, wine, and sake. Rice and Wheat is family owned. Hours of operation are Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. till 9 p.m. KNON thanks Rice and Wheat for their support.
Follow Follow Knon on Twitter at Knon 89.3 FM.
Follow us now.
Be the first to find out about Knon events and get updates on Knon. That's Knon 89.3 FM on Twitter for updates on benefits, programming, and more.
The third annual Knon Halloween Fey Voodoo Party is coming to Port David's Pub this Saturday, October 26th. Doors will open at 8 o'clock, and we will be entertained with the spooky swamp sounds of JB and the Zydeco Posse. We may not be able to go to haunted New Orleans for Halloween, but we can recreate the spirits of NOLA here. There will be costume contests with prizes for the scariest, most original, and most Cajun costume, a raffle, and more. This is Jimbo from Monday night's Cajun Zydeco Music Party, and it's my birthday. I will be bringing dinner from David's Seafood Grill in Cedar Hill for the first 75 people. This is no trick. This is my treat. Advance tickets are available at knon.org and Forever Young Records in Grand Prairie. That's the third annual Knon Halloween Fey Voodoo with JB and the Zydeco Posse, celebrating my birthday with dinner, costume contest, and more this Saturday night, October 26th at Port David's Pub, located at 1313 South Lamar in Dallas. This is a Knon benefit event.
Blue Monday, how I eat Blue Monday. Got to work like a slave all day. Here come Tuesday, oh Tuesday. I'm so tired, got no time to play. Here come Wednesday, I'm beat to my side.
We're back on the Workers Beat, and you can call us at 972-647-1893. They love it when you call. This station actually digs it when you call 972-647-1893. Bonnie and I are with Rosemarie Reiger of Jobs with Justice and Kristi Lara, who's running for school board. And during the break, Rosemarie was going to ask Kristi something. Go ahead, Rosemarie.
Yeah, Kristi, I was wondering, I had heard that that the Chamber of Commerce has endorsed your opponent. Is that true?
That is true. In fact, I was just speaking to some teachers last night. I do not have the support of the business community here in Dallas for whatever reason, but I know there are many small business owners who have their children enrolled in DISD, and I believe they know the challenges and the issues that we, the people, are struggling to resolve in our communities. I do have, better than any dollar amount, the support of the teachers. I've been endorsed by the NEA, the National Educators Association, as well as the AFT, the Alliance Federation of Teachers, as well as the Central Labor Council. And the reason why that's important to me as a candidate is because I know that a happy teacher makes a happy classroom. And you cannot divide that equation. That is the situation that our teachers are so imperative to the well-being and the academic success of our children that we as a community cannot ever forget that, and we need to remind each other that the voice of the teacher is so important, and I hope to bring that to the board if elected.
Okay, let's take this call from Kenny. Thanks for calling Knon, brother.
Hey, Gene, Rosemary.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Rosemary. I thought it'd be good if you would expand on the situation that happened in Michigan with Walmart, where the temporary worker was on break and saw a woman getting attacked in the parking lot and come to her aid and beat the attackers off, and Walmart fired him for being off the job.
Okay. I wasn't aware of that happened. I've been traveling the last 2 weeks. Was this just recently?
Yes, I actually read about that.
Oh, okay.
On the Our Walmart website, as a matter of fact.
Oh, okay.
A lady was being attacked in the parking lot, accosted, and they were trying to steal her purse. And the Walmart worker came to her aid and kind of chased off the bad guys. And Walmart fired this young man.
Oh, no. For being a hero?
Yeah, that's about it, you know.
Hey, Rosemary, he did get offered his job back,
Yeah, after there was a huge uproar
Exactly.
in
And
the
that's why he said
community.
that's why he said he didn't take his job back. So kudos to that fella.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up.
Thanks,
that's
Kenny.
an
That's-
amazing
that's
story.
great.
Yeah.
Kenny, what do you think? What do you think about the whole struggle with Walmart? Do you think it's important?
Well, of course it is, Gene. And you know, you gave me the opportunity to sing for some of the Walmart workers, you know, a couple of times, and yeah, I think about it every time you go about Walmart, because Walmart is a company that would sell their mama for $1, but would take a dime if that's all they could get. You know,
Good analogy.
Yeah, you're selling the country away. And you talk about the Walmart model, and they do the same thing at Triumph, and they do the same thing everywhere else with it. They have vended out and contracted out so much stuff to low-paid workers, and yeah, the Walmart model is what the corporations are going to, and low-paid temporary workers where you get no benefit. Yeah. And you know, kudos to the guy that didn't take his job back at Walmart.
He didn't take the job.
No, he did not take the job back.
No, he did not.
He was offended.
Rosemary, Gene, and all of you guys have a nice day.
Thanks, Kenny. You too.
You too, Kenny.
Bye-bye.
So we were talking about Walmart, and some people would say that's a digression, you know, but actually, I think it's really fundamentally the same thing. Rosemarie Reiger with Jobs with Justice is fighting for worker justice at Walmart. Kristi Lara, who's running for school board over here, is trying to get the input of the teachers and students and the community into the school board race. In both cases, we're up against a trend that Tony talked about, in which everybody is being pulled into the whirlpool of the corporations.
Right.
And people think that the government is neutral, but it's not. The government has more and more fallen on the side of the corporations. Do either one of you agree with that?
Oh yes, I'm definitely the laws are skewed such that, you know, the companies benefit, and the laws for that help workers especially, you know, it's becoming more and more difficult to organize as workers. It's difficult to join a union. I don't have the exact numbers, but I know that a lot more people would like to, for example, join the union and use it's actually a human right to organize.
Right.
They would like to exercise that right, but they cannot, and so it's definitely such that, you know, the laws in this country are skewed towards the big corporations and not towards workers.
And Citizens United played a very huge part in that. And there is a group in the movement, it's Movement to Amend, all over the country. In fact, we're having a meeting at the Union Hall. Move to Amend is on Tuesday night from 6 to 9. I encourage people to come out and listen, because overturning Citizens United is really important to move forward to get big money out of government.
You know, this is a great issue because not only are corporations not people, but in the small sense in our community, test booklets are not children, nor are they teachers. But this can be seen in such a microcosm of what we're experiencing in our communities and in our nation, for that matter. But also, you know, we need to look at the way the people in our community are being treated. Now that I'm in the political arena, I've a much more I've had a much more closer look at what's happening as far as voter suppression and what we're experiencing on the political level, access to information. We're in the information age, and I can't tell you how many communities I've been in and how many doors I've knocked on and spoken to people, and people are not aware that there's a special election happening. And you think, why is that? I mean, we are in the 21st century. You know, it should be readily available information that's splashed, because we believe in democracy. We believe in the power of the people. So we need to get that information by any way possible that would be encouraging to people voting, but instead the opposite is happening. This will be the first election that people are required to bring a voter ID. They're also required to, we have early voting, but I've noticed that this week the early voting times are 8 to 5. What working person can leave their job? Maybe they could go at their lunch break and find an early voting location. Thankfully, next week there are some, some times available at voter polling locations. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday they have a 7 to 7. But we need to keep in mind, in a democracy, how the people are able to more adequately get to the resource of voting, and also make it easier, not more difficult, and encourage them to vote and empower them to vote. And I don't mean just in words. I mean your work is not just in your deeds, but in your outcomes. So if our numbers are not rising, if we are not rising the number of voters who participate, then that's on us to resolve that issue. We can no longer blame each other. We need to come together and find solutions to that issue.
And since we touched on laws being skewed towards corporations and not for the people, recently Jobs with Justice invited the community, people, members, and friends to come to the Angelica movie theater to watch a movie by Richard Reich called Inequality for All, and I think this movie really showed that too, the outcome of these laws being skewed towards corporations, because over the past 30 years this has led to this great inequality between a very small minority, 1%, some people say the 1% or the 0.1% who own most of the wealth in the U.S. and most people have empty pockets. And this is true, of course, for Walmart. If we touch on Walmart again, the 6 Waltons that own Walmart, they own as much as 42% of the bottom earners in America. So it's just obscene and hard to even wrap your mind around how rich some people are, and they've become so rich because of the laws and because how this has now brought about this great inequality. And like Kristi already mentioned, voter suppression is another example of the laws being skewed against people. I do have a website, since these voter suppression laws are making us bring IDs to the polls now, and there's a website, www.gotidtexas, that's GOTIDTEXAS.org, and there you can find out what IDs to bring to the polls, because that's real important, especially with this special election coming up for the school board. So don't forget your ID.
And women are being hit harder on voter suppression than men, because we were talking earlier that women are noticing this. And I also want to point out that I think that the entire brunt of the corporate takeover of all aspects of what we call America is being noticed a lot more by women and minorities than it is by whites, by Anglos. Would you say that was true, Kristi?
Yeah, I think that there's always been a struggle in our nation, a historical struggle of getting people out to the polls. At first it was when our nation was first founded, you had to be a landowner, and you had to be a landowner who was white. And they said, okay, just kidding. Then African Americans can go ahead and vote. And then they said, okay, just kidding. Okay, women can vote too. And then they said, okay, just kidding. During the civil rights movement, we allowed, people to actually exercise their right to vote. So it's important that we look at that historical information that we know happened for, quite frankly, decades and centuries, that we take that into context of what's happening today. So if we know that we have a lower voter turnout than many nations, in fact, than many third world nations in this country, then we, the people, know that there are specific answers available to us. And this whole conversation is, I think, many of us that we're having at the tables we're sitting at, has to do with why is our voter turnout so low? And part of it is that, or I believe my opinion is that people are struggling. Our workers in this nation, that bottom 99%, and quite frankly, Romney so famously said, not to bring his name up again, that the 47% of the Americans who aren't giving back, those people are exhausted. Many of them are single mothers. Many of them are single fathers. They're working to provide for their families. They're working to keep their lights on. They're working to figure out how they're going to make ends meet at the end of the month and provide food for their children. And that, to me, is so frustrating because we know that we need more participation and more education and a more empowering voice in our communities. And we know that the heaviness of responsibility our parents carry, not only to provide for their children, but to ensure their children get a quality education. And so I know we can find the answers to these challenges. It's not an issue of what we're going to do, it's how we're going to do it. So we just need to get out there and make our voices heard and, make sure that people are respected for their labor, especially, our Walmart workers. A lot of those are single mothers struggling to make ends meet, and their children are going to our public schools because, of course, they can't afford to they don't even have the option of sending their kids to a private school. So we as a community need to remember that it's the people that we're here to help.
We talked about layoffs a while ago. I got some data that says that of the decline in public sector employment in the last 5 years, around 40% is in local government education. In other words, 258,000 jobs have been lost in local government education. Now, that you would think, well, that's okay if the number of kids is falling off. But in fact, during the same period, the number of kids increased by 1.6%. Just to keep up with this growth in the student population, employment in local public education should have grown at roughly the same rate, which would have meant adding 132,000 jobs. But instead, they've lost 258,000. Putting these numbers together means that the total jobs gap in local public education as a result of the Great Recession and its aftermath is around 389,000 jobs. I got that from the Economic Policy Institute. Is it true, Kristi? Is it that bad?
We know just in our experience in our local community as well as in our state that the education budget was cut by the legislators last year. We know that we lost thousands of teachers who said they would, we were told would be reassigned into different schools after the closing of the 11 schools last year. Many of those teachers have not returned to work, and if they have returned to work, it's on a part-time basis. Many of the things that we see happening to workers in our communities and to our parents, quite frankly, are happening also to our school teachers. They're consolidating the schools. Bigger is not better. Classroom sizes that are large are not better, and we need to change it.
All right, we've got to take a break. Be right back.
Tell you all a story that's close to me. A worker who's leaning on a bended knee, sword and tattered in search of relief, fighting for some unspoken belief.
If it's time to get rid of your old gas guzzler, the Knon Vehicle Donation Program can help. There's still a market for those old vehicles, and if you donate it, you're helping to support quality programming here on KNON. Just call 877-KNON-AUTO or go online to KNON.org. We'll take care of everything from pickup to tax paperwork. That's 877-KNON-AUTO or online at knon.org.
Recycle Revolution is a local recycling collection service and community drop-off center. They collect and accept all traditional recyclables, including paper, plastic, aluminum, cardboard, and glass, as well as TVs, computers, lamps, light bulbs, batteries, ballasts, and styrofoam. They offer collection services to apartments, condos, and businesses. They also offer a community drop-off located at 1703 Chestnut Street in Dallas. For more information, 214-566-3025 or recyclerevolutiondallas.com.
I wake up in the morning at 4:45. The alarm clock is relentless, for goodness sakes alive. Back to the old barnyard, the Monday morning grind. If the boss man don't fire me, I'm walking a thin line. Oh Lord, what am I gonna do?
We're back on the Workers Beat. You can call us at 972-647-1893. We got a hot conversation going on here between Rosemarie Reiger of Job and Justice and Kristi Lara, who's running for school board. Go ahead, Rosemarie.
Just one moment. I want to make clear that Gene Lantz has reached out to the opponent, the person who is running for the school board election.
I invited them both.
Yeah, multiple times. And we've not heard from the other candidate, so Kristi's here, so there you go.
Okay, go ahead, Rosemarie, with your question.
Right. Well, we heard from Jean that there's been so many cutbacks on teachers and what in the schools, and I recently heard that 11 schools were closed here in the DISD area. How has that impacted things, or how do you see that changing things here in Dallas?
You know, in our community, there are specific examples that are, they shine such a bright light on what's happening, not only in Dallas, but nationwide. And the closing of these schools, quite frankly, was a tragedy that many of these parents and these students experienced last year. I've spoken to many of those families, and we know that those kids that were bused to different communities and bused to different schools have struggled to acclimate to their new school environment, as well as the teachers have struggled as well, and some of the administrators who have been moved. Some of these schools, in particular, Arlington Park. Arlington Park was one of the first African American schools in our city, and we should take that with, there's so much respect and honor that was one of the first, city or first schools that were promoted and also supported by Dallas, and it's closed. And when you drive through that community, you see a giant empty building. And it's sad.
And also, that school served a lot of folks who actually make those long-term stay motels their homes.
Yes,
the school buses picked up kids at those long-term hotels and took them to school.
That's an important point, Bonnie. 30% of the children that were enrolled at Arlington Park were transient. Some, say they were homeless, but those children, even under those struggling economic situations, Arlington Park was an award-winning school because they had heart. And those teachers and those staff and those administrators gave everything they could to ensure that those children were successful. And
but that's successful for themselves, not for the corporations.
There you go.
Many of the families are concerned if that public space, that public structure, would be rented out or sold to a corporation, a charter school, or a private entity. But we know that is a historical marker in our city, and we need to, as a people and as a community, need to honor that and ensure that stays available to the community.
Let's take some calls now. Michael's been waiting. Thanks for calling KNON. Line 2?
Hi.
Okay, you're on now, Michael.
Oh, great. Listen, I'm a long-term activist, and I'm speaking right now self-critically as an activist, but also kind of complaining as a member of the working poor about the alienation that the working poor receive, not only from the corporate America, but also, tragically, from the activists who are always wondering, as we did back in the 80s, what can we do to get more young people? What can we do to get more working poor, more minorities? The problem is when the working poor show up, we may look a little ragged, we may talk a little ragged, we may not be as educated as the leadership, and so we're enlightened to all sorts of things we didn't know, but then we turn around and we're told, oh no, we can't say those things out to the public, that's too radical. And the alienation that people feel from Citizens United is similar to the alienation we feel even from myself back in the 80s and 90s when I was so active. I was wondering, why can't we get more people to help with this? This is so important. And I hear 30 years later the same question being asked. And really, it is on us, as you said. All of society now, with these cell phones and cameras and everything, everybody's getting a lot more considerate. Everybody's interrupting each other less. They're really hearing each other out. And we in the movement, sometimes we look at somebody who shows up, if they use a four-letter word or they're rough on the edges, we just say, well, that won't be good for the movement, and we reject them. And we did it back in the 80s, and we're still doing it. I took a sabbatical to find out what the people really want. And what they would really love to have is some left-wing activists who are welcoming and friendly and kind and warm and give everybody a chance. And I was just wondering what do you think about the possibility, just the general demeanor of us sometimes having our noses in the air because we're so good and we're so right. But that's the problem with the ruling class. They think they're so good and so right, and they alienate the rest of us.
Okay, thanks so much for your comments and your positive message. Let's put Joshua on before we start answering questions because Joshua's been waiting. Thanks for calling KNON, Joshua. Line 4.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Joshua. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, thanks. Good to hear you all. I thought the discussion about layoffs in public education, it got me thinking a bit about the process I'm going through currently with trying to become certified as a teacher for public schools. And one of the things I've been surprised by is during this alternative certification process to become a teacher, I've been engaging with a lot of organizations that are private companies. There's a private testing company that does the state certification. There are private companies that one must pay to become eligible for the certification process. There's even something called Star Teacher Pre-Screening that I did the other day. It was again a private website.
And corporations are screening teachers. Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah, the entire. Thus far, I'm yet to deal with
a human being.
Well, no, they're human beings, but they're organized.
Are you sure?
Yeah. But
you've had yet to deal with the school district then?
I haven't yet dealt with any school district.
Oh my
all I've received is instructions from the school districts, but in the last, it's basically until one passes the state certification, which is administered by ETS, which is a private company, one doesn't interact with any state organization. I've been really surprised by that, and I thought it might be a chance for, I'd be interested to hear what Kristi has found in DISD, and perhaps how her approach to that privatization that may, I think, be linked to the layoffs that Jean was talking about, what her position is and what maybe that is of how she might be different from her opponent in the election coming up.
Okay, thanks so much, Joshua. Kristi answered that, and also the other comment was that things are getting more positive now, that there's more people taking a hand and fighting back. So go ahead, Kristi Lara.
I think that as far as the networking of activism and organizing in our communities is stronger than it's been in quite a while. Although the issues have been the same, the caller is correct. You know, this issue of corporations are people, I believe, if memory serves me correct, began with the Supreme Court ruling in the 60s. So we know that since then, the workers, I always say, when I think of workers, I also think of my students, because they're going to be put into the economy once they graduate. And so those workers' rights have been dwindling, and we've been fighting against that and organizing against that. But what we do know is that the movements that have happened over the past couple of years have not just happened locally here in Dallas, but they've happened nationwide. And that is empowering just in the knowledge that we are not alone. We know that the teachers that went on strike in Chicago, when they closed down dozens and dozens of schools in their communities, when Jean says that the population of the students hasn't changed, but the schools are being shut down, and we have to ask why. And the teachers are ready to fight back, and they're ready to say, we will not stand for larger class sizes. We will not stand for our students being treated as commodities, as if they are cattle. Our students are human beings, and they deserve the right and of an equal access to education in every form in our public schools. And we need to organize and get that word out and empower our teachers and empower our students, who one day will be workers and also will be adults, and they will continue the work that we begin now. It's so important.
And then Rosemarie Reiger from Jobs with Justice. Can you comment on the caller who said that things are getting more positive now, that there are more activists coming forward and people have a better understanding of what they're fighting and are willing to do more? Is there an upturn? Are things going to get better?
I think so, and Jobs with Justice's mission is to bring people together, different activists from all different corners, and we bring together labor unions, people from different community groups, faith groups, students, retirees, and what we're seeing too in the past few years is that this movement is growing. People are coming together. They want change, and I look forward to the future, because I think we can have change, and we will.
I know there's big changes going on in the AFL-CIO, and I was particularly impressed, Rosemarie, with the meeting that you organized on Wednesday, because for one thing, you had the head of the AFL-CIO was there, which I don't think they ever attended a Job with Justice meeting since Job with Justice was started 23 years ago. And then you had the speaker from the AFL-CIO, and then you had a bunch of people from all kinds of different organizations. And one of the things you talked about was December the 10th. What's the significance of all that?
December the 10th is United Nations or International Human Rights Day, and we were thinking about how the right to organize is a human right, and how many workers, especially in the United States, are denied this right, and that Human Rights Day would be a great opportunity to get all different groups together to talk about this and think about how people are being oppressed, and how like going to school, the right to be educated, to get a good education, it all fits in. And so this would be a perfect opportunity for all different groups to come together.
Would it be appropriate to talk about the rights of students, Kristi Lara, or the rights of teachers under International Human Rights Day?
We do need to, especially in Texas, organize and educate and also empower people to understand that teachers are not robots. They are human beings, and they are in our classrooms every day doing the hard work of educating our children. And our students are not robots. They are not machines in a factory. They are human beings who need to be encouraged and empowered to achieve successfully, not only academically but also in their private lives. So if we continue that role, that movement of what is a human right and what is a human being, and what do we hope to achieve when we're educating our children, that would be a beautiful synopsis of basic human rights in the world, but especially here for our children in Dallas.
If you're going to call 972-647-1893, you better do it fast because we're running out of time. 972-647-1893. Rosemarie Reiger, what about your trip? You went somewhere, and did you find any, are people in other countries interested in what's going on in America, and what's it look like? Is things picking up, or are they getting worse?
Oh, right. So I spent 2 weeks in Brazil, and I was able to meet with some community organizers and labor organizers, and things are picking up. People in Brazil, workers in Brazil face, the same problems we have here. There's high unemployment, wages are low. The whole nature of work is changing there too, where people, are becoming more and more contract workers, temporary workers, and so it's very difficult to fight back for that. But people are becoming active. There have been strikes and demonstrations. For instance, for the public transit fare was going to be raised, and so especially young people came out and demonstrated. Another thing that's similar to here is that the backlash has been very brutal and violent by the police, and we've seen some of that here, like with the Occupy movement, where the police has been, very brutal. And there's a lot of similarities, and they do want to know what's going on here, and they follow us closely.
Well, that background noise you're hearing is because the studio is filling up. KNON is so popular. There's a lot of people here. Let's take a quick call from Joseph and get this on the road.
Good morning. I listened to your show along with Mary Barnett. For the ladies that are running for office, my question is it possible that we could have a level playing field? Level playing field is supposed to, I know y'all going for advocacy and workers' rights, but my dad used to be a bricklayer, and I'm a black man, and my brother, he's a construction worker, and right now he has to take certification, get certified this and certified that, but yet at the same time I deliver concrete every day amongst workers that are not even certified to even do the job.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible, if you're going to make all these different rights, one day my son's going to need a job, if you're going to make all these different rights, then we're going to advocate that I'll actually start, dealing with the underlying problem that corporate America is actually just literally giving away America and selling it for the big stock.
All right, thanks so much, Joseph. We're out of time. Kristi, you got any final words for us?
I just want to say I'm running in District 8. My name's Kristi Lara. I'm asking for your vote. I'm asking for us to begin the change that we need to see in our communities and the change we need to see for our children. Please tell your friends and family, if you're not in District 8, Kristi Lara for school board. Thank you.
And Rosemarie Reiger, any final comments? You want people to help you with the Walmart actions?
Right. So our next action is October 31st, organizing training at SMU. Go to our Facebook page. It's Jobs-with Justice-Texas, and see all the information. November 2nd, Walmart action at the store on Lake June Road in Balk Springs at 10 a.m. Join us there.
Bonnie.
Hey, don't forget, Move to Amend at the Union Hall on Tuesday evening from 6 to 9. That's 1408 North Washington.
We'll be back next week with the Workers Beat. Thanks so much.
KNON 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227, or extension 233. For more information, go to KNON.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.